But no one's arguing that they are not violent or didn't do incredibly shitty things. That's all there. And I'm not even even opposing you. I just opened up an article to see what the common narrative is. And the article is called Why Pirates Were More Woke Than You Think. Okay.
Oh, I already am like.
And I
I'm
hope
gonna say I'm already not like where this is going, man.
Yeah. Okay, so
because Henry Avery had slaves in the hull of his ship.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's considered woke, but
also, let's think not just about Henry, but overall. Although that's very hard to do. But here are the 5 statements. Here's the 5 reasons, right? Number 1, they supported same-sex marriage. Spending months at sea in confined quarters where women were, with a couple of notable exceptions, not permitted, some crew members inevitably grew close. In the Navy, such fraternization was severely punished. Sir Winston Churchill allegedly decried Britain's naval tradition as nothing but rum, sodomy, and the lash. Pirates, however, acknowledged such relationship under the term matelotage. In some instances, celebrating with ceremonies and creating legal frameworks for the couple to share rights of ownership and inheritance.
I question whether that is the same as equal marriage.
Okay, hold on. We are not saying that they are basically at the same level as the founding fathers, and we're not saying they have equal marriage then.
The founding fathers have got their own problems as well. Don't get me wrong, they're great on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But it's like, if they make enough of a jump to be halfway as far as the founding fathers, then I would consider the hot take invalid because it has some credibility. And I don't know about this, but how did they compare to, let's say, Mediterranean pirates or other pirates in other seas, right?
Japanese.
But just to drill down on this, the particular point, I mean, there was the people must remember that there was a whole movement 10, 15 years ago about the idea that a civil partnership is not the same as equal marriage. And in the same vein, I appreciate that it might be forward thinking to have some kind of legal network which allows 2 people
even legal, even if it's just tolerated, that's big.
I would agree with that. Even that would be big, but I think it's a stretch of the article to make it seem like they were okay with equal marriage.
They supported same-sex marriage.
Yeah, that's
sort of
not same-sex marriage.
But that's also us looking back at it and finding some instances where there seemed to be an unsaid or just referenced romantic element, but the actual institution itself tended to just be a financial thing. So you could say, 10% of it is actually same-sex attraction or something like that, or 50%. We don't really know, but even then, that sort of, I don't think it would have been conceived in that way. If anything, it's more I don't know what's going on in those hammocks, but if you guys want a financial thing,
that's how I would interpret that as well. But all right, so
it's still something. We got one. Let me quickly run through the 4.
No, sorry, I'm not counting that as something. I'm counting that as maybe.
Okay, at the time, considering what the perceptions of same-sex relationships were,
I don't know, man. There have been quite a few instances of
don't say
throughout history.
Don't say Greece.
Roman Greece is completely different. Roman Greece couldn't give a flying who you're doing in your bedroom.
Sorry then. What were you saying?
You just kissed me. That is how men of Sparta greet one another. High fives for the women, and open mouth tongue kisses for the men.
Ooh. But there was an idea of almost don't ask, don't tell type thing going on where, I mean, don't get me wrong, homophobia has been rampant throughout a lot of history of Christianized Europe. But that doesn't sound too different to me than like other financial arrangements that, which I think is Chris's point, that people would have reached in other circumstances where it's
And
just
just
like,
to be clear,
fine.
this is the
We can
article.
have some kind of like financial breakdown of it. We won't ask about why. Like, we're not really interested in like making it equal to husband and wife, but financial arrangement, fine.
All right. 2, they distribute wealth. From 1664 to the early 19th century, the Navy pressed gang recruits into joining against their will, abused them horribly, and paid them a pittance, okay, if they were paid at all. So it's no wonder so many went on the account that is turned pirate. All crew received an equal share of the looted goods and money, with the exception of high value or high risk roles, such as doctors and gunners, who took twice as much, and the captain and quartermaster, who took 3 or 4 times as much. Interesting. And by the way, look at what this article is doing. This is not a bad thing to do. They're comparing the pirates at the time to the Navy at the time.
Yeah,
It's a fair comparison.
I think Chris made a really interesting point, which I had never thought about before. Of the idea of it being basically like a bribe of like, we're all kind of like in this. Don't want you guys to be like flaking on me or whatever.
So why didn't the Navy do it?
Because the Navy, the
They
Navy
can
will
force you to join.
Yeah, they'll just punish you, and you have like.
So it's a carrot versus the stick kind of situation.
But also, if I'm pitching a lifestyle that now makes you wanted and liable to be killed, I should probably make sure there's a good amount of money behind it.
Yeah, I get that. But also bounties are involved.
The thing is, though, I think a lot of this comes down to here are the practical things that they did, and it's a mistake to sort of like look at some of those things and be like, okay, well, sometimes they're capturing slaves or selling slaves or raping or killing or torturing. But then sometimes look at what they're doing over here and mistake those for like a hidden ideal that they had, that they exist in juxtaposition to sort of like oppressive, tyrannical governments at the time doesn't really excuse the other things that they're doing. And I think, the second piece of this too is how much of an impact did those things have. I don't doubt that your average sailor would have been this really, really sucks. I'm not getting any money. This is, some of them essentially treated like non-paid workers or something, indentured servants or something, and you've been pressed into service. I think it was in England, what was it? It was like the Vagrant Act or something that sort of had in some way like criminalized it to be homeless and without a job and be doing nothing. And so that allowed them to just force people onto boats to go be sailors for almost no money, and you'll go get an STD and scurvy or something. So, it makes it attractive to be a pirate, but I don't see like the freewheeling. In a way, it's sort of like it's individualism, but not like with a capital I. It's just with a lowercase I.
Yeah, it's like anarchy.
Yeah, and so
you know what though? I'm reading this stuff. I'm thinking about this, and
sorry, just to interrupt, as a bit of saying Vagrant Act is still like kind of ongoing. The Vagrant Act isn't that you're not allowed to be like. The Vagrant Act is that you're not allowed to basically be a beggar or be like a tramp. Like you can't like sleep on the street. And yeah, that's still basically enforceable.
And that's where you get all your sailors, isn't it?
Yeah. They were feminists. And what this paragraph is basically saying, I'll summarize it.
One female pirate was like,
I was going to say, if it's just Anne Bonny,
they were yes, that's the paragraph. I'm not even going to read it. They were female famous
just
pirates.
Anne Bonny, Mary Read, and what was the Chinese sort of pirate queen?
She was extremely powerful.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
was like
but
one of the few
honestly,
pirates
guys,
to like
to be
retire.
But it does
fair.
prove that all pirates are feminists, and
Yeah, but
It
she owned
doesn't.
didn't she own like a prostitute house after, and that's how she got away?
Yeah,
Is that
she
the
like
same one?
she just
Yeah.
she just like
Honestly,
chilled and retired.
I'm reading this and I'm like, okay, baby steps, but still better
No.
than the state.
No, but I'm no, but the point is that like these aren't like this article is just wrong. Like just because Anne Bonny and Mary Read were both pirates, but didn't both of them have to dress up like men in order to get around the stereotype
one
of
Okay,
like
okay.
women
So
being on ships was a Jonah?
here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying pirates are good. I'm saying number one, I'm not fully convinced in the hot take. Number two, if the state is like if Britain, if the British Navy is like, or Spanish Navy is like a 9, then the pirates right now seem a little bit like a 7. They're still on the bad slide, very bad. But I'm saying like I'll even keep going. Like there's 2 more. They had healthcare, and they promoted diversity. By healthcare, it
Like
talks
a
about eye
ship's
patches
doctor?
and the
But
hooks for hands and peg
it-
legs. Like it's funny, you're laughing, but it tells us a lot about how shitty the world at the time was, because the other guys didn't even have that.
The eye patch
They didn't
thing
have
wasn't 'cause they lost
diversity.
an eye, by the way. It's the night vision thing. But anyways,
They
And
didn't have
al-
diversity. They didn't have female admirals or whatever in the British Navy. It was
yeah.
we come a long way, guys.
but this is but all of this is I mean like Chris's overall statement applies to all these things. The idea that
Yeah.
like just because it happened in a minority of cases doesn't mean that it can be just like applied broadly as therefore egalitarianism or therefore looked after.
I
the
don't think
disabled
anyone's
or-
saying egalitarianism.
Okay, but I mean that's what the article is saying. I mean there was like
No.
well
The
there was
article
like
is saying white pirates were more woke than you think. You think they're not woke? Well, they're
yeah,
a
they're not
little
woke.
bit woke.
So Mongolians are woke
Okay,
because they're religiously
here's the
tolerant.
thing: is we're taking like a class of people that like a profession, an illicit crime, and picking out instances where it seems like they were doing something good. And for every one of those, I can just bring you an example of them capturing a slave ship and like killing some of the slaves or selling them off.
You're
you
right.
know, these freewheeling like Captain Morgan, Henry Morgan,
Mhm.
taking it to the Spanish. He tortures an entire town and burns it down, and then he lives the rest of his life with like a slave plantation. So basically it's kind of like I don't really think they're exceptional for the time. I'd seen, I think when I was doing some research into Sir Francis Drake, one of like his first raids on the Spanish main was sort of like intercepting this whole like shipment of gold and silver.
Yeah.
And he's leading it with like pirates, but also some like local freed runaway slaves and stuff. And it's like I had seen something like, man, like I thought I saw something online saying like he actually had like a multiracial crew there, which like he didn't share the loot with them and also had slaves himself. And it's just like, I think there are certain instances that we just look and just say, okay, well, it seems like somebody on a pirate crew here did something we like. But I actually think even in those cases, it tended to be more of a practicality. If you're freeing the slave and letting them come aboard your crew, it's because you're looking out for like filling up your crew with.
I get what you're saying,
guys.
And then what you say makes a lot of sense if you talk to someone who the only perception they have of pirates is Pirates of the Caribbean, and he played Black Flag, right?
Let me have a punt.
That's tricky.
Let me have a punt at trying to argue.
I just wanna read the final thing because it's interesting. Historian Mr. Kenneth Kincourt declares, quote, "The deck of a pirate ship was the most empowering place for blacks within the 18th century, within the 18th century white man's world. Free slaves were paid to join pirate crews, which were on average a third non-white. In 1718, the year he was killed, Blackbeard's crew was 60% black. Aye, Chief Diversity Officer. Wow.
That's such a horrifically niche like thing to be trying to specify.
Yes, but imagine you're black though in this world.
Okay.
What would you rather have?
Okay, yeah, no, I would agree with that, but it's
where would you rather be? On the field or
imagine your ship is getting stolen and your wife is getting tortured, and you just look around and you're like, wow, this is like really multi-racial. It seems like they've really gone all out on the diversity for this. And
I see opportunity here.
and then one of the pirates are like, we have healthcare too.
We have a real mobile ladder. You can go up.
Infiltration's plan is amazing.
And so when they kill your family, you just think like, I get it. Yeah, you guys are.
Yeah.
At least you guys aren't racist.